Welcome everyone to a brand new episode. Now, this is a new segment. This is something new that Nate threw it up, and we went along with it. This is a crazy idea. We have our director spotlight, the first of many to come. Today, we're tackling Michael Mann's film. Me and Nate sat down for weeks upon weeks. We watched 11 movies from Michael Mann from 1981 all the way up to his final film, 2015. Again, thank you guys for showing up for tonight. I'm your host, Alex Figueroa. My co-host is
Nate from Netflix Reviews.
All right, Nate, let's say what's up to everyone that's live with us today. What's up, everybody? We got Green Light. We got Robert Makes the Cut. We got Jose, James Perez. David's in the house, the winner. Pop Culture 33, Evan, Tony Movie Chappie's in the house. Dave McGuire's also in the house. We got a lot of people here today. But yeah, again, if you're new to the channel, subscribe to the channel. If you enjoyed this content, hit the like button if you enjoyed this content that we're giving you guys. And of course, hit those notification bells so every time videos drop or we go live Mondays at 9 p.m. Eastern, you guys will be notified. But with that said, all right, Nate, so basically, before we get into this, I just want to tackle one piece of item before we get into some fun. And I got a DM for someone and basically asking, why does me and Nate never show up to other people's streams to promote our channel or support other film channels? So I'm just going to nip that in the butt quick now, and then we get right into it. And I'll let Nate take his half also. I'm not going to put words into Nate's mouth. First things first is I have kids, so I can't be on 20,000 streams. That's just one. Two, Becklish is in the house. Oh my God, it's been ages since, oh my God. And then two, other than, look, two, it's really hard when you're in the same niche as everybody else that does the same type of things. I just don't like seeing the same thing repeated. I'm not saying other creators are doing the same thing. I'm just saying for myself, I just don't like seeing the same stuff over and over. Now, granted, I like seeing the battles, 4K D-Race battles. Those have been enjoyable. I don't participate in the chat, but I do watch them. I give the likes. I do all that. I do support it. Now, in terms of everybody else's stuff, like watch-alongs and stuff like that, I can't. I just can't, because I have to worry about our channel too. I gotta do work. Me and you gotta watch 20,000 films for our action movie podcast, and we have to do now our director spotlight, which is like 11 to 13 movies each film. So look, for myself, it's kind of hard, but that's just the reason. That's my reason. Nate, whatever you gotta say, bro.
Yeah, there's a number of reasons. One, time is always a factor. I honestly don't know how all these people always have so much time to do all this stuff together. I enjoy doing this, but I enjoy doing stuff outside of this too. You know what I mean? I like to go to the movie theater. I like to go eat. I like to hang out with people. Like I can't just sit in front of a computer every single night, because guess what? During the day, I work a full-time job and I'm sitting in front of a computer all day. So, I don't work from home either. I think a lot of people nowadays work from home. I go to an office, so I have to leave my house in the morning, go to work. My day's pretty long. I work 8 to 6, so it's like a 10-hour day. Like, I just don't have time to also then just be on a bunch of live streams and live videos, and it's just not feasible. On top of having to watch the movies, like you said. And number two, I don't get invited to a lot of stuff.
I was
A
gonna say
couple
that
of
too.
people,
Yeah.
a couple of people hit me up every now and then. I do get a lot of the, hey, we need to do something together. And then I'll say yes, and then they will never hit me up again. So I'm not a chaser. I don't, Alex sets this channel. It's me and Alex, but I don't invite people here. If he does, then like Elliot or something, it's usually him, and I'm cool with it. But I don't invite people here. And I don't really do my own YouTube stuff anymore. So, I'm not offended by it either. It's not like, well, I wish more people asked me, because the fact of the matter is I'm probably going to say no to a lot of them. So every now and then I'll say yes. And if it works out, like when D-Ray had us go on the battle, that was a lot of fun. I was clear that Thursday. Normally Thursday I go to the movies. So normally I'm not home. But that Thursday I was able to be there. It was fun. If I can do it, I will. But, it's just, there's other things in life besides doing YouTube, and as much as I love movies, I like to not always be sitting here doing this. So, that's pretty much from my end, how I look at it.
Yeah, look, they have it. I mean, you said it the best. I mean, we never get invited to stuff, and I'm not gonna parade because they got 20,000, numbers, and we don't, and that's not working for us. But with that said, let's have some fun, and let's get into this actual Michael Mann filmography breakdown. I mean, we're gonna break this sucker down. I mean, I'm feeling under the weather, so today Nate is gonna take over. So I'm gonna bear in mind with me and my voice and stuff. But with that, let's have some fun. I put together a filmography clip of all his movies, so me and Nate don't have to run through all this crap. You guys can see it for yourselves and see if you guys watched this movie. We gave you guys homework if you guys wanted to watch it. You guys could have watched it, but it's up to you guys if you did. It's not because we did the work for you. So with that said, check out Michael Mann's filmography. His entire filmography from 1981 all the way to 2015 Blackhat. So sit back and enjoy.
I wear $150 slacks. I wear silk shirts. I wear $800 suits. I wear a gold watch. I wear a perfect D, flawless, 3-carat ring. I'm a thief.
You must not stay here.
Something has been released.
Something.
Did you find what you were looking for?
Intruder entered through kitchen sliding door.
Nationwide victims.
Yeah, this is Will Graham of the FBI.
One killer.
This is what the subject's teeth look like.
I thought all our colonial scouts were in the militia.
I ain't your scout. You sure ain't no damn militia.
My life's a disaster zone because I spend all my time chasing guys like you around the block.
I do what I do best. I take scores. You do what you do best, trying to stop guys like me.
I take scores.
An insider, ready to speak the truth.
And I want to go on the record.
A reporter who will help him reveal it.
What does this guy have to say that threatens these people?
Together,
I was told.
Don't talk.
Who is this?
they will risk everything.
Hey, come on, I'll take it. I got 5 stops to make.
What's your name?
Max.
Max. I'm Vincent.
Out the country, but the blueberry still connect.
Johnny, how long did it take you to go through a bank?
About 1 minute, 40 seconds. Flat.
What do we know about this guy?
He's a convicted hacker serving 15 years. MIT. Genius coder.
I want you to commute my sentence for identification and the apprehension of the guy you're after.
I wear $150.
All right, there, guys. There you have it, guys. Scores. Yeah, that was an actual clip of all of
I
his
love that
movies.
Part.
Which one?
Robert De Niro. I take scores.
Yeah. You do what you gotta do, and I do what I gotta do.
California, but he still talks like a New York guy.
Oh, yeah.
I take scores.
Yeah, so again, these are the movies that Michael Mann directed, all right, from 1981 Thief to 2015 Blackhat. All right, Nate, so take us across. Let's start it off. Let's have some fun here. You guys, if you guys seen the films, chime along with us. We're going to have top 3, best of our top 3, underrated, the movies we hated. We're going to talk about all that today. So, Nate, go ahead.
Yeah, so let's just give you a rundown of how this is going to go. Again, like Alex said, I had the idea. I did this over on my Instagram. I did Guillermo del Toro. It was a lot of fun. I watched all his movies. I did reviews. But, we was like, hey, let's do it on the show. You guys were pretty vocal. A lot of people mentioned, I don't remember how it came up. I remember we were talking about Michael Mann, and a lot of people were like, "Oh, Michael Mann, that would be a good one to do." So that's the one we thought, hey, let's do Michael Mann. So here's how this is gonna go. We're gonna do a little intro. We're gonna show you some stats in a little bit, not just yet. We're gonna show you some information on the director. Then me and Alex are just gonna you've seen the filmography. We're not reviewing every single movie because that will be 3 hours long. What we're gonna do is we're gonna just kind of touch base on the kind of his directing style, what we noticed watching all these different movies, what kind of movies he makes, things like that. Then we're going to give you 3 categories. We're each going to give you our least favorite, movie of his whole filmography. And then we are going to give you our top 3 favorites each. So I'll go 3, Alex go 3, I'll go 2, so on and so forth. Our favorites from him. And then last, we're going to give what we think is the most underrated movie in his filmography, in my opinion, and in Alex's opinion. So we're going to cover a good amount of the movies. Yeah. I don't know his list. He doesn't know my list. So, it's going to be a interesting discussion. But if you guys in the chat want to discuss with each other, we won't be going to the chat too much because we got a lot to talk about. But we're not reviewing every single movie. That's what I'm going to get to. We're not doing 11 reviews. But we will talk about the movies we like most and the ones we don't like and why. Okay? So let's go ahead and bring up the first graphic here, which is just going to be some information about Michael Mann and his career as a director. Dare I say, very underrated director. Doesn't get talked about as much as a lot of other directors. Yeah. And now you got to keep in mind, of his 11 films, he has a total of 12 nominations across all 11 films. He only one of his films has won 1 Oscar, and that was Last of the Mohicans. It won for Best Sound, but he was nominated for Best Director 1 time for the movie The Insider. And in total, 11 movies. They have grossed $1.05 billion worldwide, which doesn't sound like, like the Avengers made $1 billion by itself. But if you look at his, when he's been working on movies, pretty solid. And I know we have another list here with all his filmography with the Rotten Tomatoes scores. So we're going to pull that up. There. So if you look, this is the first set, but look at the critic scores for his movies. 94. Okay, the Keep, not that good. 40, but 93, 93, 87, 96, 68, which is not amazing, but also not terrible. And then beyond that, moving into the earlier 2000s, like all of his movies, look, 86 and 47, not amazing, 68, 32. So a couple of lesser liked movies, but for the most part, he gets a lot of praise critically. Yeah. Very skilled. I'll go first, just as far as Michael Mann, and then Alex, I'll let you go. Yep. But when he is one of those directors he does write or co-write a lot of his movies. Not all of them, but I want to say maybe 8 or 9. He was like a writer on. Technically sound. He's one of those directors who's very skilled at filmmaking, right? Knows how to set up a shot really well, knows about the camera work. An interesting kind of, if you look at, the cool thing about watching all his movies in a row like this, you could see how he transitioned from film in 2000 and whenever Collateral came out, 05, I think. 04, okay. From Collateral on, he shoots exclusively in digital. So he used to shoot on film. He moved exclusively to digital in the 2000s, and everything he's done since there. And you could tell they have a very different look, right? Like different style, a lot of handheld. The nighttime scenes, the sky looks kind of grainy almost because it's not on film, and they don't have to use as much lighting. That was the whole goal of it. So a very distinct, one of those directors who has a distinct look, where I think a lot of other directors don't always have like a distinct look. Alex, what do you think about as far as all that?
I agree with you. I think the funny thing about Michael Mann is like watching it from his earlier stuff. It was there. It was there. The darkness, the grittiness. Like I was telling my wife, because me and her actually watched almost all of these together. So and I was talking to her about. I was like, he's very gritty. All his movies are gritty. Like in terms of like a it's just like this like true to life shots, not cinematography type style, like where like as a Martin Scorsese, where he tries to go with the nice shots and the pretty looking shots. Michael Mann's is more documentary style, like cops, what you gonna do? What you gonna do? You know what I mean? Like with the handheld shaky cameras. Because that, to be honest with you, I know you said Collateral, but that camera shaking came all the way down to Manhunter when he introduced it into the films. Because I was like, holy crap!
He did, like they did handheld, but what I meant was he started shooting digital.
Oh, digital. Okay, yeah. Because like
no all those, film.
you saw the progression of how his style started to fine tune right up to where you said Collateral. Because once Collateral hit, I'm gonna be honest with you, Collateral and Miami Vice, all they did was swap Colin Farrell and Tom Cruise, and it was the same movie. It was exactly the same movie, shot by shot, handheld, right, nighttime, action. But Miami Vice had that more documentary cop style of a film. Honestly, it's not a bad thing. We're going to get into it more when we start picking our movies, why we picked the movies that we did. But honestly, it's very entertaining. It was actually interesting sitting down watching this guy work from 1981 all the way up to 2015 because The Keep is the only movie in his entire filmography that's a horror movie, like straight horror movie.
Yeah, he's very much into the crime film, right? Like if you look at his filmography, you have The Keep, Ali, Last of the Mohicans, and kind of The Insider. Even though The Insider has elements, outside of those, these are all movies usually about bad men doing bad things, and Thief. Manhunter's a serial killer movie, criminal. Public Enemies is about a bank robber. Miami Vice is about drug dealers. Collateral is about an assassin. Blackhat's about hackers. Like, it's all about, he's very much into the criminal element, which, if you just like those kind of movies, Michael Mann is a perfect director for you, to be honest. But yeah, that's a good point. He doesn't go outside of certain boundaries except The Keep, which is the kind of the really odd, and we're going to talk about it, I'm sure, but kind of the odd duck as far as content that he normally does.
No, I mean, I agree. I mean, so far out of the directors that this is the first one we did, but the other directors that we've seen, right, like other ones that we've seen, like when we do our action movies, he's the only one that stays the fine line of his style. Like other people try to experiment here and there, but you could see. I mean, now what doing this spotlight thing, now I think you could. It's like music where you hear a musician solo on a rock music, you go, oh, that's Slash. Oh, that's Eddie Van Halen. That's Kurt Hammond from Metallica. They all have a certain style, so when you hear it, and with film, it's the same thing. I guarantee you, if I put 3 movies, you will know which one is Steven Spielberg, and the other 2, you'll go, oh no, it's not, Steven Spielberg. So that's the cool thing. So let's get into pick some movies.
Yeah. So to Evan in the chat, no, we didn't watch LA Takedown. We did not include for this one. We didn't include TV movies. We didn't include TV stuff. It's 11 feature films, theatrical release type movies. Robert, by the way, kept telling, or Jay, one of them kept telling us about LA Takedown, but we didn't watch it. All right, Alex, I'm going to let you go first.
Okay.
We're going to be picking, first off, I said, let's start with the bad, because we always want to end on a good note.
Okay.
So Alex is going to go first. I think I know where he's going to go with this.
Yeah.
But what was your least favorite Michael Mann movie of the 11 movies?
Oh, hands down. This movie's a piece of shit. This movie is a piece of crap. The Keep is god awful. It ran 2 hours and something minutes. It was a really long movie. It's about a World War II Germany / supernatural movie, right? I know I have something like that, right? Has great actors.
Nazis.
Yeah, Nazis. Has great actors. But the execution, first of all, it doesn't have his handheld stuff that you see throughout his movies. This is straight horror. I mean, they were trying to compete with other movies. This movie is god-awful, and it's a piece of shit. I mean, it is boring. And I would also put Blackhat on this, but you know what? I could see Blackhat again over The Keep. So if I had to pick the worst out of his entire 11 movies, this movie, I do not recommend it for nobody. And I swear to God, if they make a 4K steelbook with an awesome cover and I see all you buffoons out there going, I gotta get it, I want to chew you guys out.
When the inevitable Scream Factory release on 4K and everyone buys it.
I will go to wherever you are and I'm going to choke you dudes out because this movie is horrible. Nate, what is yours?
Yeah. Well, just to touch base on, I'm going to talk a little bit about your pick because I actually have a different pick. Believe it or not. So The Keep, I think you hit the nail on the head. I don't really have much, I never seen this. So of these 11 movies, I think 3 of them were first time watches for me. And this was one of them. And I could see why I never got around to watching this because it is so bad. It's weird. I don't understand the story for the most part. It has a cool. Didn't Tangerine Dream? They did the music for Thief. I don't know. Did they do the music for this? It has that same kind of sound, that very weird 80s music. I don't know. It's pretty trash. It does have a good cast. Ian McKellen is in this. Scott Glenn is in this, but it don't help. Now, the only reason it's not my least favorite is because this was his second film. You know what I mean? He's still newish. And later on, he made a movie when he should have known better. And that movie's Blackhat. Blackhat.
That's another piece of crap.
Blackhat has, look, you want to talk about, this came, so, when The Keep came out, he'd only done Thief and then The Keep. This came out after every single other movie he did. So he's made Heat. He's made, Collateral. The Insider. He's been nominated for Best Director. And then this movie, first of all, and I watch it on digital, but I remember when I watched the Blu-ray, like the audio mix on it is horrible. There's so many parts where it sounds really bad. I don't even understand why. This has like a great cat, like Viola Davis is in this. Chris Hemsworth is in this. The guy he loves working with all the time, John Ortiz, who was like in four straight Michael Mann movies, is in this. And it is just abysmal. It's not good. It's not, there's a couple of action bits that are okay, but it has his digital style, and I don't know. I can't get into it. This was my second time watching it. And I remembered why I never watched it after I saw it the first time, because I did not like Blackhat. It was really bad. I hated it more because he should have known better by now.
It's funny. When I put this on, I was going to text you, and I know you were working. And I was like, I don't want this guy to start laughing in the middle of his job. This shit looked like a straight-to-DVD movie. I was like, what did I? Because people, you got to understand. It went from Public Enemies, 2009, to this movie, 6 years later. Right? Because it's 2009 was Public Enemy, so it's another 6 years later. He did another movie. One since. Yeah, and I don't blame him because this movie stinks. I was like, what did I watch? This movie's not good. And every time he tapped on the computer, it went whoom, right into the mother chip, and then it started to go through.
And too much of that at the beginning part, where it's all going through the motherboard, and I'm like, what? This would have been cool in 2006, but by 2015, it's not that cool.
So basically, me and Nate's The Keep. Garbage. Do not watch it. And our second is Blackhat, and we both got it nailed on the call.
My least is his second least, and his least is my second least. They're hands down the two worst Michael Mann movies, and I don't think you'll find an argument. Personally, I don't know. Maybe someone loves these movies. I have no idea.
Maybe. Look, Evan said I saw Blackhat years ago. I don't remember liking it or hating it. It was what it was.
You don't remember it because it was unmemorable.
It's horrible.
It's very unmemorable.
Tony Movie Chappie said, look, and I believe there was a director's cut to Blackhat. It was on FX TV. Well,
it was on TV only. A TV only director's cut.
Yikes. All right. What's the next category?
Okay. So here's what we're going to do next. We are going to give
underrated.
Let's go to underrated. So we're going to give what we think is his most underrated movie. You guys know what underrated means. You don't have to explain it. The one that people that you thought was great and a lot of people just don't talk about. Okay. Yeah, like The Keep. It could have been The Keep if it was good. Yeah. Alex, what is your pick for his most underrated movie to you?
You're gonna be surprised, bro. You're gonna be surprised, especially someone like me, because you're gonna go, man, Alex is gonna pick action throughout all this shit. I already know it. Not this guy, because I'm going with The Insider.
Ooh,
this movie is absolutely amazing. I am telling you right now, me and my wife was on the edge of our seats with this movie. Russell Crowe was phenomenal in this movie. My man Al Pacino looks like my dad, and I was like, this dude, if I gotta show you a picture of my dad, you go, oh my God, he does. And he was so good in this. And remember, The Heat was in 1995, then came out.
Was the movie right before this.
Yeah, so he had the Al Pacino going. So I love this movie. I love the concept. It's about a tobacco company, and Russell Crowe worked for them as a scientist, and he basically did some wrong stuff, and he wanted to expose them, but he had this contract that basically if he breaks it, they could sue him and throw him in jail. And he was like, I'm going to do it. And Al Pacino worked for CBS, and he was going to help him basically tell everybody and all that. My brain is foggy from the damn cold, but I think I got it right. That's what the movie's about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Essentially, he is an insider. He becomes a kind of a whistleblower. He's a whistleblower against the
That's what it
tobacco
was.
industry.
Yes, he's a whistleblower. I love it. You guys have not seen it. I highly recommend this movie. And I'm going to tell you right now, if this movie gets a 4K, I am buying this damn movie. Because this movie's good. I didn't buy it digital because I'm hoping they come out with this movie in 4K. Yeah. But other than that, Nate, this is my underrated, man.
All right. Very good. So here's my underrated. Now, this was a first-time watch for me. I had never seen it, but I owned it. And it's been sitting on my shelf for like 2 years. And I said, wow, this is the perfect time to crack it open. Well, I had to. So it was the perfect time. My underrated is actually his first movie ever. A little movie called Thief, starring James Caan. Look, no one talks about Thief except super movie insider knowledge people. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
As far as like people I know, Rob talks about it, but he's been going to the movies since, before I was born. It's people like that who talk about Thief.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't see it. No one makes posts about Thief. No one talks about Thief. And so when I watched it, I was like, I don't know what to expect. I got a Criterion. Criterion tends to be movies that are not usually huge blockbusters anyway.
Yeah.
And gosh darn it, this movie's so freaking good. This one got the Tangerine Dream score. You got James Belushi as his partner. Yeah, James Caan. That little clip you played, I love the scene you picked because he's so good in this movie. Like, his acting is awesome. I didn't know we talked about it a little bit, and you were kind of like, you liked it, but I love the meticulous nature. Where you might, where people might think, oh, this is a little slow because this is I loved them showing every step of when they were robbing doing the big heist with the diamonds in it. I loved it. Like every little thing had to be covered. He went through the whole process of it. I loved watching the whole thing. Again, the story's great. I love a good tough guy movie. James Caan is a tough guy in this movie. He's got some great lines. This is just like a dude movie, if that makes any sense, honestly. There's a little love story in there, but it's like he pretty much just tells her, you're my woman, and that's it. It's not the traditional courting. He's like, hey, you like me, and I like you, and now you're my girl, and you're my wife. And it's like, well, I guess that's how it was back in 1981. I don't know. But yeah, I love this movie. I thought it was fantastic.
This movie, okay, so the reason why I didn't pick this movie as an underrated for myself was it's a lot of character development in this movie. A lot. Sprinkled with some thievery here and there, but it's mostly character driven. So I wasn't too into the story, to be honest with you. Whereas I already knew you like these type of movies where it's a lot character driven. Yeah. So whereas I gravitate to like a lot of explosions and shots, but I'm still into the character driven movies, but
you're more, I guess the way to put it would be you're more into narrative driven.
Yeah.
Action, sure, but narrative, the story over character, and I a lot of times like character over story if the characters are interesting. So I guess that's probably what you're saying.
Yeah. So look, there you have it.
Yeah,
we got our underrated
insider for Alex. Now we're gonna get to our top 3 each, and this is what we're kind of talk about each one. Little mini, just like we're doing here, little mini reviews for our top 3s. Alex, you're gonna go first again. We'll snake this one. You'll go first, and I'll go first on 2.
Okay.
So, what is your number 3 favorite Michael Mann film?
Number 3. All right, I'll put Manhunter. Oh my God! Okay. First of all, that clip was mad wrong. I should not put that clip. That looked like a porno.
Like, it looked like a porno or a cologne commercial.
It does. He was just like, and he was about to walk into the room,
and the music.
Yeah. Manhunter surprisingly shocked the fuck out of me, dude, because I was floored. I love movies like this, where it's like that noir style. I mean, we talked about it, like the Batman, stuff like that. This movie was like, it was so good. I love this movie. I think it's way better than Red Dragon. I'll say that right now. I don't want people to go crazy, but I'm going to tell you right now, it was 100 times better than Red Dragon. Michael Mann in this film used the darks very well. I love how he used Hannibal Lecter in this movie. Now, it takes place with William Graham. He's an FBI agent, and he already captured Hannibal Lecter. If you guys watched the whole franchise, how that works. But this movie is the bomb. I'm telling you, 4K, I'm picking it up on 4K. My wife is a big Hannibal Lecter fan, so it's going to add to the collection. But I enjoyed it. I thought it was very well. This is a character development movie. And it's not much action, but let me tell you, this movie is good. Like, it is really good. You guys have not seen it. I'm telling you, throw out Red Dragon and put this sucker on. This is way better. What did you think when you watched this movie?
Yeah, so it's funny because when I'm not even lying. When I was watching it, all I could think was, Alex is probably loving this. Alex is probably loving this movie. Like, you like the CSI shows and the murder, the murder mystery stuff. And I do too. But I was like, oh, he's eating this up with a spoon. A big old spoon. Just like, give me the Manhunter. Give me the Manhunter. Yeah. Yeah, it was good. This was one of the other ones that I had never seen. So this was a first time watch for me.
Yeah, same here.
Surprise! I'd seen Red Dragon though, so I knew this. Once it was going, I kind of knew the story. Way less Hannibal Lecter in this than than I thought, and definitely in Red Dragon. Now, when Red Dragon came out, Anthony Hopkins had already won an Oscar. He had already played in Hannibal. He had already played in, Silence of the Lambs. So they had to give him more screen time. But Brian Cox is barely in this as Hannibal Lecter. He's on screen twice, and they're pretty short scenes.
Yeah.
And so I thought he was going to be in it more, but he wasn't. But that's okay. William Peterson is good. Tom Noonan is really good as the creepy serial killer. His head is humongous.
He's always a creepy dude.
The biggest head I've ever seen.
Yeah.
The only part that made me laugh that was so 80s, there's one scene that's so 80s in this. And it is towards the end when
through the window.
When he jumps through the window and this man walks up to him, slices him twice, and picks him up Ultimate Warrior over his head and throws. I'm like, come on, get this
into the
this
fridge.
Pick this guy up like he weighs 2 pounds and throws him across the thing. It was kind of weird. It made me laugh. But otherwise, I agree. I think it's a very good movie, a good mystery thriller. A lot of Dennis Farina's really good in this. A lot of good actors in this. I liked it. Yeah, I thought it was good. It didn't make my list, but it was very strong.
Yeah. All right. What you got?
So my number 3 was actually your underrated pick. I got The Insider as number 3. Now, I saw this movie a long time ago, and I don't think I was at the age to appreciate it when I watched it because I thought it was boring. Now, I'm a little bit older, a little more seasoned. I've seen a few more movies. By a few, I mean I've seen a lot more movies. And, this movie came out when I was 12. So there's no way if I watch it early 2000s, I'm probably going to really appreciate it. I agree with you. I think first of all, the cast in this movie is great. Christopher Plummer, amazing. Russell Crowe, Al Pacino. They're all great. I am a sucker for these kind of movies, these true life, stories where there's like what it reminded me of, like as far as modern stuff, like something like Spotlight with Mark Ruffalo and Michael Keaton and, stuff like that, or State of Play where there's like a newspaper. In this case, it was 60 Minutes, and they're trying to get to the bottom of a cover up and all this kind of, I love it. I thought there's moments in this that are almost like a horror movie. When Russell Crowe's walking around the backyard, when he thinks someone's in the backyard, and the way it's shot and the music, I'm like, this is like a scary movie, pretty much. I thought it was fantastic. I agree with Alex what he said earlier. If you've not seen it, it's also not surprising that this is the one that he was nominated for Best Director. Because he did an amazing job. But this is the kind of movie the Academy people eat up. So I thought it was great. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah,
all right,
this one, that's why it's my underrated.
Yeah, so, I know you already talked about it. So, my number 2, this was, I would say it was a hard decision. It wasn't that hard of a decision. But my number 2 is going to be Heat. Is my number 2 Michael Mann movie. Now, I know a lot of people put this probably number 1, and I won't argue with any of those people because it's that good. Al Pacino, Robert De Niro, first time working together since Godfather 2, but they didn't have any scenes in Godfather 2. This is the first movie where they actually had scenes together. So it was kind of a big deal at the time. But Val Kilmer, great. This is another one where the cast is like every single character is played by an actor you know. William Finkner's in it. Freaking Danny Trejo when he was like, before he was Machete or anything like that. Danny Trejo's in this. Dennis Haysbert, the Allstate guy. He's in this movie. Who else? Val Kilmer. Tom Sizemore, before he started doing too much cocaine and he was still a good actor. He's in this movie. Wes Studi. I mean, the cast goes on and on. This is a crime epic. I feel like it's an epic movie. And it's not just because it's 2 hours and 50 minutes. It just has a big scope as far as the story, a cops and robbers story. This is a cops and robbers movie, right? Al Pacino has his gang of cops. Robert De Niro has his gang of thieves, and it's got to be said. And we didn't cover this on Action Movie Guys podcast, but the freaking shootout in this movie is, you want to talk about something that's like a top tier type of scene. We've discussed on the Action Movie Guys podcast, I'm not crazy about gun action. It's not my favorite, like two people shooting at each other. But this is the one. Like, it is intense. It's like 10 minutes long. It is so good. It's so loud. There's stakes to it. People die, and I love it. It's one of the best like action scenes probably the best action scene Michael Mann's done. And this movie is fantastic.
Yeah, I agree with you in terms of the action in this movie. Well, my number 2 is Heat. Just to throw everybody a thing there. Number 2 was Heat. And I agree with you. That shootout, let me just tell you right now, I think is the best realism action shootout I think I've seen in the movie. I mean, hands down, they're changing clips. I don't know how many permits they had when they shot this movie, because they had to tell cops, like, yo, we're going to go full throttle, real shooting, bank robbery. Don't shoot my actors, because this is going to get good. Because honestly, like the first robbery when they robbed the armored truck, that joint was like awesome. And then that last ending, I was just like, oh my God. I was just like, had to lower it because it was super loud. It was so good. But Al Pacino and Robert De Niro, their acting is so top notch in this movie. When they had coffee together, and he's like, you gotta do what we gotta do, and the boys gotta do. And I was like, this is awesome. Like, he respects him to have coffee.
Like, I won't like it, but I will bring you down.
Yeah.
I will bring. And Robert De Niro's like, well, I'll also kill you if I have to. You know what I mean? Like, it is what it is.
It's two people respecting each other, and I liked it. I thought it was really good. This movie, let me tell you, it's a long-ass movie, but it's awesome. It has a great story, very character-driven. One thing Michael Mann, I will talk about it towards the end, but he does very well when he's developing characters in these movies. I mean, they're close to 3 hours each movie. I mean, Jesus, but this one is another long one, and I can't wait for this sucker to go on 4K. I'm going to be honest with you on that.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, and he's a master of using, especially LA. Most of his movies are set in LA, and he makes the city a character almost. You know what I mean? Like, it really is. This movie has to be in LA. Like, sure, you could maybe transplant it somewhere else, but it wouldn't work as good in my opinion. Val Kilmer is great in it. The women too, like Ashley Judd is in this. Little Natalie Portman when she was like a kid. Yeah, great. This was after The Professional. She's great. Yeah, fantastic film. Okay, so now your number. I'll be honest, Alex. I thought Manhunter was going to be your number one.
Oh,
I thought Manhunter was going to be your number one. So I'm really interested to see what your number one is.
Oh, this is going to throw a loop, and you dudes are going to fall out of your seats on this one. My number one is Last of the Mohicans. Oh. This movie is freaking fantastic. I mean, from acting, the script. I'm a sucker for history buff. And I don't know, this is not based on an actual true story or anything like that. But it's kind of like, to me, like the Braveheart of Michael Mann. I enjoyed it. It was a great love story. To be really honest with you, it was a little weirded out that this dude was an Indian. He was part. I was like, okay.
He was white.
Yeah, white dude, part of an Indian clan. And I was like, that's cool. Yeah. You know what I mean? I was like, hey, everyone has their own posse. So I was like, that's cool. Yeah. And I liked it. I thought it was a really good. The score was fantastic. It was very well paced. The movie, going from point A to point B, and even towards the ending, that Indian douche that killed his friend, and then the girl threw herself off the cliff. I was like, this dude is gonna get the butt. Like, not the butt. I mean, he's gonna get his ass kicked. He can get the butt. You can tell her already sick. Not from her, because she threw herself off the cliff. No, but I thought it was really good. The fighting, I'm a little because it wasn't as much. Like these dudes were fighting through the. That was a scene in the movie though. It was funny where he goes no, and he's going through, and the guy's about to chop her in the neck. He got there like mad quick and hit her.
I love that part. It's my favorite part.
Yeah, it was. But I thought in an entire package, the movie was very very well done. It was very well done. That is another movie I would pick up if they had the chance to get a upgrade to 4K. I recommend it. I recommend it for everyone. I'm like brain fogging now. I recommend it for anyone that hasn't seen it. So yeah, Last the Mohicans.
Well, this is one of my top 10 favorite movies of all time. So it had to be my number one Michael Mann movie. And that movie is The Last of the Mohicans as well. Yeah, it's, look, I first saw this I actually saw this in the theater. And the only reason I know this, I was a kid. This movie came out, I was a little kid. But I remember being terrified of Magua when he, like, rips out the dude's heart. And I was like, why would my parents bring me to this? I mean, it was a different time back in the early 90s. You know what I mean? It didn't seem like it was going to be that violent, but then you go see it. Also, the part where they're burning the guy alive, it always stuck out in my head as like it was like traumatizing to me when I was a kid.
Yeah.
So I didn't watch it again until I was in high school, and I absolutely fell in love with it. The love story is great between, well, first of all, you have Daniel Day-Lewis, who's one of, if not the greatest actor. You know, you can make a case, the greatest actor of all time. He's one of the best actors of all time. And Madeline Stowe, she's the main like love interest. She's great. Their love story, I love. The music, the score in this movie is absolutely fantastic. I love the war scenes. I love the scene at the fort with all the cannons and the fire, the one that's at night. I love the scene in the field where they're surrendering and they're walking through the field, and then the Indians start or the Native Americans start coming from the side. Yeah, the ambush scene is great. Magua is Wes Studi is an amazing villain in this movie. He is evil, and you know, I love his comeuppance at the end with the freaking dad kills him. I was like, that's right. And you know, the title, you hear The Last of the Mohicans, and you think it's going to be Daniel Day-Lewis. It's not. It's the dad. He's white. He's not even the real. He's not even the real Last of the Mohican, right? He's not an actual Mohican Indian. So I love this movie. There's nothing wrong with it. I've seen it I don't know how many times, and I will watch it I don't know how many times more. But every single time I watch it, I hate that douchebag, the one who gets burned alive. I was like, good for you. Every time I watch it, I always try to find something redeeming, but I just never can. He's the worst. He causes so much problems. He could have told the truth. He could have said, yeah, the people got killed at their home. But instead, he lies. He thinks the girl's going to love him. He's such a loser. Yeah, this movie's a 10 out of 10 for me. It's absolutely my favorite. So I'm glad you picked it as well. It's to me, it feels the least Michael Mann when you look at his whole filmography. Yeah, I know we talked about The Keep, but this doesn't really feel like any of his other movies either, but it's amazing. You know what I mean?
No, I agree.
Yeah. So with that being said, let's just touch really quick on some of it. So none of us picked Public Enemies, Miami Vice, Collateral,
and Ali.
Quick rundown of those movies. For me, Collateral, Public Enemies, and Miami Vice, you're right. They all feel like one movie, even though Public Enemies was taking place in like the 30s or whatever.
Yeah.
I like that film. I think it reminds me a lot of Heat, but with old time gangsters, right? Like Christian Bale is the Al Pacino character, and Johnny Depp is the Robert De Niro character, and it's very similar. It's okay. I don't think the digital format worked. I don't think the shooting style worked for that movie. But Depp's pretty good in it. The cast is really good. It's fine. I do like Collateral. If we were doing top 4, that'd probably be my 4th one. I think Tom Cruise is amazing in that.
Yeah.
And I like Miami Vice. I think most of his movies are good. But I feel like we touched on the great ones. But what do you think about the rest of his movies?
All right. Well, I'll just go quick. Ali, I was not too through with. Ali was. Will Smith was not Haman Ali. First of all, when he talked, he sounded just like Will Smith. I was like, he does not talk like that. And then 2, it erupts ends. Like, that's another thing about Michael Mann. All his movies just ends. Like, there is no ending to the movie. It just shuts off. and that's it. Or he'll give you like a little, he went to the house and took a shit, and then that's it. And you're like, whoa, okay.
This guy died.
Yeah, he died.
That's it.
Yeah, thank you for your 3 hours wasted. And you're like, oh my God. So Ali, I understand it's a biopic. Me and my wife wanted to see if they're going to tackle more of him struggling with the Parkinson's, him getting, him shaking all the time. They didn't go through all that. So I was just like,
it has a lot more to do with him being a Muslim and like the whole Nation of Islam stuff.
And him
more than
sex
anything.
with everyone.
Yeah. And I will say though, the fighting scenes were good. Very authentic, more realistic boxing scenes than something like, Rocky. It's not cartoony. It feels more like a real boxing match. So that was cool.
No, yeah, I mean those things were those were cool. I mean, I wasn't too thrilled with it, to be honest with you. Collateral, okay,
yeah,
Collateral was good. I liked it. Tom Cruise is a very good villain in the movie. Jamie Foxx was really good. Also, they had a great chemistry, on screen. I liked the camera work in the movie. I thought it was really good. Honestly, the story was a little far-fetched for me because I was like, this dude is just driving around shooting people. The cops find out. I love how he takes the elevator with them, not noticing it's them. So I enjoyed it
also,
for that.
Javier Bardem was in this, and who even knew?
Yeah, he was
and Jason Statham's in one scene and he doesn't even talk. He just gives him the briefcase and that's it.
And Jada Pinkett Smith is also in the movie.
He uses a lot of the same actors, like movie to movie, if you notice.
I mean, it worked. I thought the movie was good. I didn't put it in my top 3 because this movie and Miami Vice were the same film. And that's the reason why I didn't pick it. It didn't distinguish itself from each other. Miami Vice was a straight up cops, what you gonna do movie. And let me just tell you, I watched Miami Vice in the 80s, and I was like, this is not Miami Vice. And I know some people might do the whole, they're not going to do the TV show, it's a new spin to it, it's a reboot. Okay, but it wasn't, to me, it didn't work. It didn't work at all. It just, first, the storyline was all over the place, right? 1 minute he's going with the drug dealer's wife to Cuba. He's banging her all over the place. Then you got Jamie Foxx's character. And I'm like, yo, we got 3 hours. I was like, this is 20 minutes of this, just him falling in love with this chick for what? Like, what's the point of this? Like, you're not giving me the point of why this character has to have sex with this chick for what? Like, I didn't get that point of the movie. And it was useless towards the end anyway because he let her go. It was just stupid. Same thing with Jamie Foxx's character. I liked his character way more than Colin Farrell.
Better in this. Yeah, I like Tubbs way better than Crockett in this.
Yeah, I like that way better. The style of shot, I think it could have worked if it had a better storyline to it. Like if you gave me this was Bad Boys, but the realistic Bad Boys with the cursing and the joking around and the explosions.
It's more low-key. It's low-key Bad Boys.
Yeah, and it was more undercover, which I love undercover work, but it was just too much. It was too much undercover. I was like, whoa. I was like, these dudes are like, I don't know. It didn't work for me. And then, again, it looks the same thing as Collateral. It's just the same movie, different tone, but the same camera work. Public Enemies.
Set in Miami instead of L.A.
Yeah. Public Enemies, I loved it. I love Public Enemies. I like that style of movie. Like that noir mafia type movie. Like, hey, I'm gonna rob some banks and all this stuff. Like, I love that stuff. Johnny Dillinger, John Dillinger, whatever his name was.
John Dillinger.
It was funny because I had to look up how he got killed because I was like, there's no way he got killed like that, right? He did, but in the real version, right? He fled. He tried to flee, and they shot him down. In this movie, the guy took it upon himself and shot it. But Christian Bale's character, did resign, and a year later, he did kill himself, suicide. I don't know if it's due to that, but Public Enemies is my joint. I like it. I love Johnny Depp in those type of roles because I think it fits him really well. And that's pretty much it. Now, look, in terms of his entire filmography, one thing I got to say is that Michael Mann is very, like I said before, he's a very gritty, very character development. Even in his shitty Blackhat movie, is still character development throughout that story also. I mean, how horrible he shot it. But other than that, I mean, honestly, I think his bread and butter was from the years of 1986 all the way up to 2009. I think that's where all his great film work was. I don't know about you.
I agree. I think his 90s output, and it just happened to be that way, like now that I'm looking at it, those were my three favorite, were the movies that came out within the 90s, like Last of the Mohicans, Heat, and The Insider. That's three movies in a row that he came out with. And just fantastic. And then you have the digital era, which starts just after Ali. Like Ali just kind of falls in the middle there between them, right? You had the 90s era, then Ali, then that digital stuff, Collateral, which I actually gave Collateral, Miami Vice, and Public Enemy. To me, I like them all equally. I think I give them all like a 7. I think they're all good movies. I don't think any of them are amazing, but I think they're all solid action films. And one thing, too, about Michael Mann is like he makes movies for adults. Every single one of his movies are rated R. None of them are PG-13. All of them are gritty, adult-oriented movies, and there's not a lot of directors. Yeah, like, if you think about modern guys who are similar, maybe like Fincher, but even he had like Benjamin Button and Social Network, which were PG-13. I wouldn't say they're for kids, but, but in that same ballpark, very gritty, adult-oriented type stuff. I think he's underrated as a director. What would you say? Do you say he's underrated, overrated, or properly rated?
I don't think he's underrated because the movies that people talk about him is always Heat, right?
Yeah.
So, but I think he's underrated because honestly, if you take away Heat, let's just take away Heat, right? Because that's like his big movie, right?
That's the one he's most known for, yeah.
But if you take that away, Insider, Manhunter, Thief, Collateral, Last of the Mohicans, Collateral, and Public Enemies, that's a great resume for a director, right? Like, if you really look at it, the body of work, if you eliminate Heat, he has great movies under his belt. Like, even if you even take out the Insider and Heat, he still has great movies, right? And I think that's how you should look at it compared to that, and I think he's an underrated director.
I think he's fully underrated, mostly because I think he's as skilled as a director as anybody, but he doesn't have the same. His movies aren't big blockbusters. That's number one. We went over it. 11 movies totaled $1 billion in grosses, box office. So he's not putting out $400 and $500 million successes. But I just think from a skill, like a directing standpoint, he's fully underrated. I think he's fantastic. So, okay, that's Michael Mann. What do you guys think? I know we've been seeing you guys in the chat a little bit.
Yeah, let's
I
read
know.
some stuff.
Evan said he had the same list as me as far as top 3, I think.
Okay.
I know Waka the Butcher loves Heat. I think that was his number 1. But yeah, let's see. Did anyone else put their number 1s in here?
All right, let me see.
Some people did like
Jay Manley said Ali was about his comeback after he was stripped of his titles. Tony Mood Chappie said Collateral is a masterpiece. Okay.
He did say up top, Tony, my personal favorite Michael Mann movie is Collateral.
Let's see. Kal-El Daily says 10 out of a 10. Why? Laughing. Just kidding. Never saw it.
Mohicans, I think.
Okay.
Not a lot of people. Throw your list up if we missed it. What is your guys' favorite? What's your number 1 favorite Michael Mann movie? Tony, we know is Collateral.
Tribal Gigolo said Heat, Collateral, and Ali is his best films.
Okay, very good. Heat, Collateral. Yep. Okay, that's nice little list. Thief is see Robert's the only one who ever talks about Thief. That's what I mean. That's why I put it for
Thief
underrated.
Is the number 1.
He loves it. I think it's
James Perez says 2000 seems like he was trying too hard to make a good-looking film, but not as great for a movie overall. I think that was Blackhat.
That's Blackhat. Blackhat is 100% style over substance.
Yeah,
1,000%. But it's not great at either. I
agree with that.
All right, now for next director spotlight, we're gonna announce. You guys keep talking in the chat, by the way. We're going to announce. Now, we don't have the date yet. We have to nail down a date. But it will be soon. We're going to be doing a couple of these a year. Maybe 3 or 4 a year, depending on, the director. And we are going to be opening it up. We have already, me and Alex talked off air, and we have our first 3 directors picked. Okay? But after those 3, we're going to start throwing it to you guys. And you guys are going to let us know. So we're going to start doing fan votes. I think we have an idea to do a little like tier list director thing. We got some stuff on the table. And we're going to let you guys pick. Maybe we'll do a bracket, right?
Yeah.
We'll do like a March Madness bracket like we do for trivia, but we'll put directors on it, let the people vote, and then we'll narrow it down. But this is going to come out of left field. You guys, you're not ready for this. We do a lot of action movies.
Yeah.
We do a lot of serious we do some comic book movies, you know. We do a little bit of the Batman. Well, we are going to go in a whole nother direction. Our next director spotlight is going to be on a pair of directors, and it is going to be the Farrelly brothers. Now, I don't know if you guys know the Farrelly brothers. They are comedy exclusive, except one movie. There's one movie that's not really, I mean, it's funny, but it's not a straight comedy. We're going to be doing some Dumb and Dumber. We're going to be doing some Me, Myself, and Irene. Yeah. A little bit of There's Something About Mary. I'll be honest with you, Alex. I like a lot of their movies. I don't like all of them, and I haven't seen all of them.
Yeah.
But I like a lot of them. My favorite comedy of all time is Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah.
And they directed it. So what do you before we go into it, what's your impression of the Farrelly brothers?
Well, I mean, I did see a lot of their movies. So there's Something About Mary I seen, but I haven't seen it in a long time. Dumb and Dumber I haven't seen in a long time, but that was also my favorite comedy. I never, ever seen Dumb and Dumber 2, so that's a first time watch for me. The Green Book, I remember liking that movie.
Green Book's amazing.
Yeah, that's going to give me a chance to purchase it in 4K to put in my collection because I did enjoy it. So I'm interested to watch their stuff because there's a lot of movies when I saw the filmography that I never got to see. I mean, I love Shadow Hal. That's another good movie. Remember
Kingpin?
Shadow Hal? Kingpin I never saw.
I
never saw
Kingpin
Stuck
is
on
funny.
You.
Yeah.
Never saw Stuck on You.
I remember hating that one.
Yeah, I never seen that
we'll
one.
see. So just so you guys know, we won't be doing. They did I think one of them did a movie like a movie 43. We're not including movie 43 because it's it's like 20 directors who directed like a bunch of shorts. Yeah. It will be just Farrelly brothers only. So I know only one of them. I think Peter directed Green Book by himself, but that will be included. The rest are like all brothers movies, pretty much.
Yeah,
but I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait for this one.
Well, it's funny because this came up. So for everyone out there, how this came up was we had our second director. We already had, and we were gonna plan on starting to watch, and then something happened. I think we said a quote from a Dumb and Dumber movie.
We said, let's take a left turn here.
Yeah, let's take the left turn and just go straight comedy because we do a lot of action movies, and let's just use this opportunity with the live channel to give you guys all type of directors from horror, drama, comedy, action. So we're going to use the director spotlight to watch every type of movie there is. Martial arts, Korean films, whatever it is. You guys choose. So whatever we pick the list, you guys will pick it, and then we're going to sit down and watch it. So our second one is the Farrelly brothers. You're going to have fun with that. Wait. And then the third one is a lot of the
third one's we'll call it a so-called heavy hitter.
It's a heavy hitter.
The third one is like a big name. So not that Michael Mann's not, but the third one we got is probably the biggest name we've done so far.
Yeah, it's a really big honcho guy.
Yeah. So we're gonna do that. I got some underrated directors in mind that we're gonna do in the future. We're gonna do women directors.
Yep.
You know, I think we gotta start with probably Catherine Bigelow, but you know, we're gonna do women. So we're gonna cross the whole spectrum. I love these director spotlight. It gives me and Alex a chance to watch a lot of movies, some rewatches, some first time. Breaking down, it's really fun to break down a director's career and look at the whole picture. You know what I mean? So if you guys liked it, we'll keep doing it. Let us know in the comments if you enjoyed it. Let us know here in the chat if you guys enjoyed it. By the way, I know Walker the Butcher put his list, and I wanted to read it because I didn't want to just ignore his top three.
I just want to tackle this quick. Tony Movie Chappie said Zack Snyder. We're not going to do Zack Snyder because on the Action Movie Guys podcast, we did Batman v Superman already, Man of Steel.
Sucker Punch.
We did Sucker
300.
Punch. Yeah, 300. So we pretty much did his filmography so far. That would be maybe later down the line. It will revisit, but I don't want to sit through Batman v Superman again once we
have to sit through Justice League again, 4 hours.
Yeah, another 4 hours. Yeah, of that. So I think we're gonna pump the brakes there a little bit on the Zack Snyder.
Walker the Butcher. His top three were Miami Vice, number 3, Collateral, number 2, Heat, number 1, and his most underrated was Thief, and his least favorite was Ali. So not a bad list, very good. Jay Manley also, his number 1 was Last of the Mohicans, number 2 Heat, Number 3, Miami Vice. A lot of Miami Vice fans out
Not
here
bad.
in the chat tonight.
I
Pretty
think
good.
they're cursing me out then because I chewed that one up.
And Harrison's very excited. He said yes with the 5 exclamation points. Fairly Brothers is a great choice. Horror and Coffee's already. Ralph's already throwing out some nominations. John Carpenter. Hey, John Carpenter. Maybe Robert Rodriguez. You know, we got to do some cool direct. We got to do some. You know, we're not just gonna do
Eli Roth. Yes.
Yeah, we're not just gonna do Spielberg and Scorsese.
Yeah.
And we'll probably do them at some point. But
Quentin,
some love.
Quentin Tarantino, which I haven't seen none of his films aside from Kill Bill.
Hitchcock.
And,
Harrison, we'll do Hitchcock.
Hitchcock.
If we start now, we'll be done for 2025.
Yeah.
If we start now. We got so many movies. Maybe we can have Harrison as a guest for like one of those old directors like that, and come on and
we could do that.
With us.
Add some people in. Talk with that. So yeah, there you have it, guys. That is our Michael Mann breakdown of his entire filmography. Now, again, if you guys are catching on the replay and you want to chime in, then leave your stuff on the comments. Leave us your top 3 movies, underrated films, the films that you thought was crap. Is it the same as ours? Just let us know in the comments. We'll get back to you guys as soon as possible through there. Other than that, in terms of our podcast that's coming up, so far we got Bourne Identity out now. You can listen to that. And Shaft. Those are our 2 newest episodes. Episode 143 is Bourne Identity. We're starting a new franchise, The Bournes. And then, of course, Shaft is finishing the River of Time. That's what Nate calls it. The 70s. This week we're going to go
traveling down the River of Time.
Yeah, so this time we're going to be traveling in the River of Time of the 80s. So this week, for you guys, we're going to do Bourne Supremacy, the sequel to Identity for Bourne. And then we're going to start off with Escape from New York, John Carpenter's other hit movie. Escape from New York, starring Kurt Russell in the film. So those are going to be the 2 movies that we're going to be breaking down this week on the Action Movie Guys podcast. Other than that, I'm trying to figure out. I think that's pretty much it in terms of our live show next week. It's gonna be no other. The Fairley Brothers is gonna it's gonna be a month for now.
That's not gonna be till a little bit, maybe
we have
end
to
of
watch
May, early June, something like that.
Yes, it's 13 movies in there for filmography, so me and Nate has to sit down, watch them all.
But
and
on the plus side, Alex, at least they're not all 2.5 hours. Like
every
single Michael Mann movie is like 2 hours and 20 minutes or more. All of them.
Yeah, it was too long.
Oh, so long. All of them are long.
Yeah,
I was like, I got 4 left, and there's gonna take me 12 hours.
Dude, I was literally listening, like my brain started to play that Red Hot Chili Pepper song. It was going, how long do I separate my time? No, but
it was intense.
No, it was very intense, but it was actually really fun sitting down, watching the Michael Mann. So it's actually pretty fun. Can't wait for the future of what other directors we're gonna sit down and break down. It was actually really fun. Again, I hope you guys enjoyed this thing. This is new. This is the first episode. We're gonna do some more upgrades to the stuff here and there. But so far, there's the gist of it. How it's gonna happen. I think Robert is high on morphine because he's just naming directors left and right now. He went James Wan, Guy Ritchie. Yeah, he's just going crazy. Other than that, Nate, you got anything else to say?
No, very excited for the podcast. We're moving into the 80s, like you said. I'm looking forward to that. We're doing the Bourne movies. Looking forward to continuing those. We got some Bond coming up. Podcast is great. If you guys are not listening, I know a good amount of you are. But if you don't, you're missing out. Because I was listening to them today during lunch. I'm not one of those like toot my own horn people. I'm really not. I don't, but they're funny. Some things are so funny. It's doing.
Hold on.
Oh, there we go.
Are we back?
I think we're fixed. Yeah.
All right. I think we're back.
All right. Go ahead and tell them again because the news got frozen.
Oh, okay. We're back. All right. We're back. We're back. All right. Here we go. Again, I'm going to do it mad quick before we get cut off. Skynet. To celebrate our podcast, we're going to give away the entire Bourne Identity, all the way to Jason Bourne. One lucky fan is going to win the entire Jason Bourne collection, digital 4Ks. So we're going to give that away next week, 9 p.m. Eastern. The Balls Corner is coming out. One lucky fan is going to win to celebrate our milestone for our podcast. So I think other than that, that's pretty much it. Before we get cut off, I don't know why we got cut off, but I guess internet shit. You know how that goes. But yeah, other than that, I had fun today. It was fun. I enjoyed it. I like breaking this stuff down. Michael Mann. Nate, anything else? That's it?
Nope, that's it. Let's wrap it up. I got to watch the movie. I got to go watch The Bourne Supremacy right after this. So. Yeah, it was great. Thanks for coming tonight.
Yeah, I just finished watching that too, so did good for tomorrow. Other than that, guys,
Pop Culture said, I hope my balls win that Bourne.
Yes, someone's lucky balls is gonna be winning some Bournes. All right, so someone's lucky balls is going to win. I will give you guys your numbers next week if you guys want to know your balls number. So with that said, again, thank you so much, guys, for joining us today as we break down the Michael Mann movies. Same thing with Nate. We had fun. We are returning back next week, Monday at 9 p.m. Eastern here on the Ultra HD Geeks channel. Other than that, I'm your host, Alex Figueroa, and that is
Nate from Netflix Reviews.
Be awesome to each other and geek out.